Hola amigos, this is Omvir and welcome to CodePipe. In this video we are going to see how to implement machine learning model on web app using Django. The machine learning model we are trying to implement is we will upload one image and this machine learning model will predict the handwritten words on the image. This is an exact replica or clone of my website codepipe.com. Here I have tried to implement the demo for us. Here if we upload one image file, let's say this one, and we submit this, it will take a little bit of time because it is interacting with S3 bucket. Okay, we can see it is identifying some words. Here we can see the prediction is not very accurate on point, but in my defense, this is a model that has been trained only on 100 or 120 words. I will be implementing this on my website so that we can get more images and we can train the model better. But coming back to the point, we can see that our machine learning model is working. And if we scroll down, we can see that these all are the words that the model is trained on. So without wasting any more time, let's straight dive into how we can do it. I would like to mention something before we move forward. Since we are looking for how to implement machine learning model on Django, I am assuming that you are familiar with some of the topics. The topic I think you should have knowledge on is how to create a Django project and applications. You should have some knowledge about TensorFlow and Keras libraries, some basic libraries like math, random, sys, os from Python, and you should know how to handle static and media files on Django, on testing as well as on production. As I am going to implement this on my website also, I will be interacting directly with the AWS S3 bucket, which is from Amazon, but the process remains same for everything. The process goes something like this. First we need to take image from the user. We need to save the image somehow, either in our local directory or on the S3 bucket. We need to process the image. We need to load the machine learning model either from S3 or our local machine. We want to use this model to apply on processed image to get our predictions. We need to save the prediction image and somehow show it in our HTML file. As I have already mentioned, I will be going for production level things here. Another reason why I am doing that is I have observed that taking images from local directory is quite easy when compared to production. So if we know the difficult stuff, it will be easy for us to get the easy stuff. So let's dive into the coding. Here I have one application sample. I have copied this in settings, installed apps. I have provided the URLs in the main URL so that whenever we are calling sample, it will directly take this. In my views.py, I have created one class handwriting that will take on template view. It is a class based view. I am using class based views because it is simple to use. And I am taking this class into urls.py and I am presenting it as view with the name handwriting sample. Now our application is started. We have our views, we have our URLs. Let's quickly make a template that will showcase everything. So I will create a new directory, templates. Under this I will create another directory, sample. Under here I will create the file handwriting.html. Let's make a simple HTML page. Let's give it a title handwriting. In the body I have used one simple h1 tag that says this is handwriting page, just to see if our HTML page is working or not. Once we have our HTML page, let's use this in our views.py. Here I will give template name is equal to sample handwriting.html. Let's check our web page. Here if we use sample, and here we are getting the testing part. Hence our HTML is working. Now let's get to the first part where we will take image from the user. For that I will create a model in our sample application that will hold the image that we will eventually use for further training. So in our models.py I will create a model with the name handwriting model, and I'm only interested in image, so I will only put an image field. I will use a string function that will return the name of the image. I'm using split here because it was giving me the full path of the image, but if you want you can add a name here so that you can use this to identify your images, but I'm not going to use this. Now we want this image to be uploaded to a specific path, So let's create a function for that. This function will create a specific path where the image will be uploaded. So I am using the instance plus the file name that I am receiving. I am giving a specified path as projects handwriting user uploaded. I am taking out the extension so that I can get the name of the image. Then I am providing a file name using the extension and the name which I want, and this function will return the path where the image will be uploaded. So we are done with our models. Let's register them to the admin. In admin.py we can use admin.site.register. We need to import this handwriting model. So from .models import handwriting model. Let's migrate our changes. So I will use make migrations sample. After make migrations I will use migrate. Our migrations are done. After migrations we can use this model directly into our views using create view. But I'm using template view, so I will create a form first that I will pass on to the template view. So let's create our forms.py. In our forms.py we can use model form so that we can use this model to create the form, and since there is only one image field, so I will be using that. Okay, now let's go to our views.py and import this form. From .forms import handwriting form. Now we are ready to modify this view so that we can take the image from the user and provide the predicted image. I am using template view because I think it is quite easy to manipulate things in template view. So first I will define the get function. As we are talking about class based views and how to manipulate them, there is a very good site you should know. It is ccbv.co.uk. I will try to provide the link in the description or in one of my blogs. Here you can see all the class based views, and we are using template view. So let's see how it is there. If we are confused or we are not aware how to manipulate things, we can always refer this. If we see here we have get function. So let me directly copy paste this, and this is very helpful website. If you want to know class based views in detail, this is the site to go. We have our get function. Here I will provide context of the handwriting form. Now in our HTML file, let's insert that form. Let's see how it is looking on the site. Let's refresh this, and we can see here we can upload a file, but we forgot to include the submit button. Let's do it. Also we need to implement form here so that we can interact with our views. I want it to redirect it to the same view. I will use URL template tagging, and the method will be post. We should always include CSRF token. Then we have our form. After this let's put the button. Type will be submit, and we can give the name submit. On our web page, let's refresh this, and we have our submit button. Now we can take images from the user, and as per our process, next step is to save the image, and the model that we have created comes handy in this situation. Now in our views.py, let's define the post function. Our post function will look something like this. Let me walk you through it. The post function will be triggered whenever user will click the submit button and the form will be in action. Here we are using handwriting form, and we are taking data from request, from post, as well as files. We are saving it in a variable fm. Now we are taking out the name of the image that user is sending. We will use this name to handle the image. Now if our form is valid, we will save the image. Before that we will check if the same image exists in our model or not. Objects.filter.exist to check if it is existing or not. If not, we will save it. Since we have saved this image in the model, it will be very easy for us to use this image name to get image from the database. Now this get handwritten words is the main function where we will do all the image processing and the model handling work. We will get back to this in a minute. From this function we will get the labels. Labels are nothing but all the words that I have shown that the model can predict. And image URL is the URL of the image saved in the database. Since my images are saved in S3 bucket, This image URL will give me a direct path to my image. We are sending this both to the context so that we can show them on the page. If everything goes okay without any errors, we will show everything to the page. Otherwise, we will raise a response or anything we want. Now we have taken the image from the user, we have saved it to database. Now it's time to get into the machine learning stuff. Once we are done with the views.py, now it's time to see how this get written handwords or this function works. This is basically where all our machine learning stuff will happen. So for that, first of all, we will install all our required libraries like TensorFlow, NumPy, etc. Since I have already installed everything, I'll not go through it again. After this, I will create a new file in the sample, which will be handwriting.py. First of all, I will import some libraries which will help me manipulate the data, such as TensorFlow, NumPy, CV2, Pickle. Boto3 is our storage for Django, which is used to store files on AWS. After this, I will be importing environment variable, as I will be dealing with some privacy stuff here like AWS credentials. So let's start defining our function. We will take image name from the views.py, or basically the image which is uploaded by the user. Now we need to do two things here. First, we need to download model or get it somehow from the S3 bucket, and second is we need to get the labels. Labels are basically a list of words using which we have trained our model. Once the value is predicted by the model, it will go through the list to see which is the word. After that, we will get the uploaded image by the user. So let's see how we can get the model first. Using this code, I will get my model. First of all, I am initializing one directory where I want my model to be stored or where it will be available locally so that we can use it in our program. I will be saving it as handwriting model.h5. h5 is basically model extension from TensorFlow. I will be saving it in the base directory. So let's import settings. Here I am importing settings. I am importing settings because base dir is in settings. After this, I will check if my model is already present in the local directory. If not, I will create a file handwriting model.h5 and I will open it as file, and then I will use bucket.download object this path into the file. So this is basically where my model is stored. So this is in my S3 bucket static assets project file handwriting and this model.h5. At this point, if your model is already in the local directory, you can directly call it using the directory name. After that, I will call a function load keras model and I will provide the model directory to read the model from. Now let's see what is this load keras model. Our load keras model will look something like this. So we are providing a global variable as model. Then I am loading my model using the directory given. Now this graph is something new for us. So graph is nothing but we have to use it if we are exporting our model from TensorFlow and we use it somewhere else. So I will return model from here. Okay, until here our model is loaded. So let's load our labels. This code will help me in getting the label. So first of all, as I did with the handwriting model, I will use a label classes to write the data from downloaded object, and then I will read it in labels. Now we have our model and labels. Now it's time to get the image uploaded by the user. For that, I will use this function get image dir or get image directory. We are sending in the image name and we will get image directory to load the image. Also, we will get the name of image. We will get to know why this is important in a minute. So let's define this get image directory function. Before that, let me tell you, I'm using this because my files are on S3 bucket, but if you are just testing and not on production level, you are probably saving your files in the media directory, so you can get directly from there also. So let me define this get image directory function. Let me quickly walk you through it. So first of all, I am removing the extension because the image can be PNG or JPG, etc. Then I am using a key. Key is basically an identifying object for the image on my S3 bucket. Using that, I will be downloading it. So my image is on media projects user uploaded plus the image name that user has given us. After that I'm creating an image path. So this is nothing but just the name of image. I have to do it because my files are using CloudFront, which uses cache memory, and if I'm not using any string of random integer, it will always give me the same file. So I'm using this just for my use case. You can always use different things. After that I'm doing the same thing. I'm defining a image directory on the base level. I will see if the image is present already. If not, I will download the image. And finally I will return the image directory and the image name, which we are getting here. Now I will be skipping a step or two because it is mostly related to image processing and machine learning, and since it is not scope of our project at this point, so I will be skipping it. But I have already made a video on how to process images and get the prediction. The video will be present in the link in the iCard, so please have a look if you want to. Here we are. I have used some code from Python to process my image. Let me just give you a gist of it. I'm taking the image directory, using OpenCV to read it. Then I'm passing it through the model to get the predicted words. I'm putting the words on the image, and then finally I'm writing the image or overwriting the existing image using cv2.imwrite. So now the image which I have downloaded is replaced by the predicted image. It will be very easy to understand once we run it, so please bear with me. Now we have our predicted image. We need to send it to our HTML page, but it is not easy in production. So what we have to do here is, once we have to upload our image back into our S3 bucket, and from there we have to get the URL to send it to our HTML page. So I am using this code to replicate that. I am using a file path. Now this file path is inside my S3 bucket, so it will be media, projects, handwriting, predicted images plus the image path we have received. Then I am opening the predicted image so that I can save it on my media storage. We have not defined media storage yet, so let me define. Media storage is nothing but it is the default storage where our media files are saving. Defining media storage, we have to go on top, and below this code will be used to define our media storage. We have something known as custom storages.py in our base directory. For that I am appending this into our system path, and then I am initializing S3 bucket, and then I am taking out the media storage. But again, if your files are directly in your local machine, you can directly provide the file path and it will be available on our HTML page. With this, our function is completed. Now let's return labels and image URL. Okay, so our handwriting.py is done. Now we just need to import this into our views.py. So in our views.py, we can use this line from .handwriting import all, and we have already used this function here, so we are all set to go. Before running our server, let's go to our HTML page and define these context. On our HTML page, just below the form, I will put this code. If predicted image, if we have the image, we will provide the image. I'm giving a width of 500 so that we can easily contain it on our page, and we are providing labels on our page. Let's run our server and see if everything is running fine. Just a side note here, if you are using TensorFlow, you might get these warnings. This is about CUDA or GPU on your system, so you can ignore it if you are getting. Also, while installing TensorFlow, you might get some error, so I would just suggest you check your Python version if it is 32-bit or 64-bit. TensorFlow needs 64-bit, so have a look out for that. Let's see our web page. Here, let's try to upload one image and see the output. Let's upload this only and let's submit. While this is loading, let's see how it is working in the background. If we go to our editor, here we can see our model is already loaded. Now our labels are loaded, and here we can see our image is loaded, which is this one. Let's see if this image is replaced by the predicted image. Now we can see the image is replaced and the words are predicted. Now this image URL will be sent to our page. Also, if you don't want your local machine to be overloaded with images, you can use os.remove to remove this file once everything is done. Let's see our web page. Now we have predicted images. We are getting the image, as well as we are getting a list of all the labels or words that the model was trained on. If we look closely, I don't think all the words or only one or two words is predicted positively in the image. Others all are wrong. Why? Because we are only using 123 words for our training. Here I will request you guys to upload more images so that I can extract more words and we can train the model. Once the model is trained nicely, I will make the data available publicly so that you can also use that. With this, I conclude that we have successfully created a handwriting prediction web app using TensorFlow models and Django. I will try to provide all the relevant files on the GitHub. If you liked watching the video, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and what I have done here is only one of many available ways we can perform this. So if there is any suggestion or comment from your side, please let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, which will motivate me to make more of such videos. I will meet you very soon with a new video. Until then, this is Somveer taking your leave. Adios.